going on YouTube? It's Jimmy with Two to the Top Crane. We're back in the crane today. We haven't been in this old girl for a few days. Actually, it's been more than a week, maybe a week and a half or so. Haven't got any crane footage out of it. But today we're just set up in our yard. We got to get everything configured for a job we got to do tomorrow. It'd be kind of an interesting job. We do it twice a year. Where we're located in Missouri, we're right on the bank of the Missouri River. We're in northwest Missouri. We're north of Kansas City. And the job that we are going to do, we have to put a set of docks in the river. So there's a big boat ramp up in the vicinity of where the docks go in. And the local parks department supplies a dock for boaters that are using that boat ramp to tie their boats up to and whatnot when they put their boats in the water. Well, they have to take it out every fall because the ice flow down the river would destroy the dock, and then we put it back in every spring. So yeah, we're gonna go do that tomorrow and get a little bit of crane footage out of that deal. But in order to do those docks, I'm gonna have 3 counterweights, and we've only got 1 truck available. So the way I configure the crane to drive up there is I leave one counterweight on the deck, and then I put a counterweight on the dolly, and then I have a counterweight on the truck. I would never do that going down the road because it makes the crane pretty heavy. It probably wouldn't like it very much. But for just in town, this old girl doesn't seem to mind it too much. So we're gonna run a little boom out. I'm gonna grab this piece of counterweight off the ground that's over here, and then I'm gonna swing it over next, or as close as I can, to my boom dolly, and then I will move the crane over there, get in the dolly, and I should be able to snatch that counterweight off the ground and put it on the back of my boom dolly. I'd never be able to reach that counterweight sitting over by where my dolly is. It'd be too far away unless I would need that piece of counterweight to grab it from that far. So it's not going to be anything overly exciting today, but nevertheless, it is crane footage. And that's what my channel is about, is cranes. So we're going to record it. We got the boom retracted, and we're gonna lay it back in the rack. I'll get back down onto rubber, which is what we call it. It's just getting back on the tires. Alright YouTube, I'm back. We got moved over. We're hitched up to our dolly. It's actually got a pedal hitch on the back of the crane that hooks to the dolly. Get some boom ran out, pick this counterweight up off the ground, set on the back of the dolly. Then we'll retract boom, lay the block on the rack on the back of the boom dolly, and then lay the boom down on it. So if I had $1 for every time I've said dolly so far this morning, I probably wouldn't have to be at work today. So a few weeks ago, well, almost 2 weeks ago, I had a person mention about learning crane hand signals and stuff many years ago. So I told him that I would do a video on crane hand signals. I guess I can throw it in here while I'm extending, since it takes a second to get the crane extended out. As soon as I get boomed up here, I'll go over a couple of the hand signals real quick. It's the standardized crane hand signals that everybody should be using when they're around cranes. We don't always get those hand signals. Sometimes I get stuff that looks like gang signs. So sometimes people leave things up to interpretation, which I don't necessarily like, and it shouldn't be that way. But typically we discuss it beforehand. One thing I've learned doing crane work is you never assume anything. So our first signal, I'm trying to get my hand in front of the camera here without being too close to it. This is boom up. This is boom down. My viewfinder keeps shutting off, so I'm going to try to keep it open. But this is boom down. This is cable up, cable down, boom up and cable down, boom down and cable up, stop, this is stop. What else can I do one-handed? Swing left. Oh, I got dirt on my hand. And then I don't have an extra wrist, so it's hard to turn my hand that way. Swing right. I can't show you telescope because it requires two hands. There's about 24 different signals. We don't use all of them with this crane. Some of them are geared towards crawler cranes, which are the cranes with tracks on them. And since this doesn't have tracks, we don't use those signals. I got that counterweight over here a little ways. It's pretty close to the old outrigger cylinder. We are going to err on the side of letting it swing away from us. Sorry if I get my fat head in front of the camera. I can't see it down there. Can't see that counterweight down there, so kind of guessing where I'm at. Okay, so a little trick when you're picking stuff up like this. I mean, I've got 4 straps going to it. You can watch your straps and see if you're over the center of whatever you're trying to pick. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be over the center of gravity. On these counterweights it does, but some stuff may not be. If all 4 of your straps become tight at the exact same time, then you are over the center of whatever you're picking up. Okay, I picked that up generally I would boom up a little bit to compensate for the deflection and the crane kind of bowing down a little bit because of the weight. Since I was close to my cylinder, I wanted to let it kind of move away from me, so I didn't boom up to compensate for anything. I just let it roll, just let it do its thing. And you can see it swung a few inches, and that's just the amount of deflection I had in the crane boom and the flex in the frame of the crane. But crash that counterweight into one of those outrigger cylinders, and that would be bad juju. I don't know what that outrigger cylinder costs, but I don't want to be the cause for finding out either. Also, I've had a few comments from some people that they were glad that so far everything's family friendly. They can sit down and watch these videos with their kids, and they don't have to worry about language, crazy antics and whatnot. And I mean, I don't mind watching stuff by myself that's got language in it, but I agree with them as far as making it family friendly. This kind of stuff kids are very interested in, and I know everybody raises their kids differently, but this channel will always remain family friendly. Sorry, I'm getting quiet. I'm concentrating. This thing only fits in here with about an inch to spare. But there may be a time that I slip with a word or something, if I get freaked out about something, or someone's really having a stupid attack. And if I ever do end up with something like that in my video, I will edit it out. They want to move it over a little bit. They aren't happy with where I put it, which is okay. Back to the family friendly thing. I want my channel to be one of those that people can turn their kids loose on my channel and not have to worry about what I'm going to say next or what they're going to see. Kids are very interested in this kind of stuff. If I'm doing a job next to a road, I've had cars sit along the side of the highway. I've had cars sit in parking lots, and just about every time you look over in those cars, there's a little kid's face in the window watching everything you're doing. And to me, that's really neat, because that's the future of my trade that is sitting there watching me do that work. Now, I know probably less than 1% of those kids are ever going to jump in the seat of a crane, but for those few minutes that they're sitting there watching me, they're in the seat of this crane. They're sitting there imagining what they're going to, what they're doing, or what I'm doing, but they're imagining themselves doing it. Maybe when they go home at night, they get a bunch of toys out and they're playing cranes, my channel's family friendly. I love kids. I've got 2 of my own. My daughter's almost 17. My son's 15. I think they are proud of what I do, but they're not really engaged in what I do. If this thing had an Xbox controller in it, though, my son would be all about it. So basically what I've found over the years is the kids that enjoy watching this kind of stuff, they're either under 10 or over about 35. That's the age group of kids that enjoy watching this thing. That stand last winter, or that was maybe last February or March. That dolly didn't have one on it. It works out pretty well, other than you got to kind of manhandle that hook when you're setting the block down in it. This is where you really got to pay attention to what you're doing too. I've got 2 guys standing right underneath the boom, and they're where they need to be. But if I do something radically stupid, then I could hurt either one of those 2. So this is a case where slow and steady wins the race. Like YouTube, I suppose. So this is part of the leaving the boom retracted when we're in the dolly. It adds a few minutes to our setup and tear down, but it's so much better than the alternative, having that end of that boom swing around all over the place past the end of that boom dolly. So you're getting ready to see the signal for retract. I'm gonna honk at him, letting him know I'm gonna retract the boom. So this is the signal for retract. You hold your thumbs up, point them together. I didn't want him to be standing in there while I retract that thing another 3 feet or so. So I wanted to get it retracted because down here on my screen, my Clarion screen over here, I want to switch this to my camera mode. That way I can watch the cable as we're winding it up, because it's not going to have much weight on it. They're just going to be holding it by hand. He's got to keep some tension on that cable as I wind it up, or it'll get a loose spot on the drum. Really this high in the drum, it wouldn't be that much of an issue, because next time we reeve that block, which will be tomorrow, I'll be way past that spot on the drum when I reeve that block. But you need, anytime you're messing with winches, you want to try to keep your cable tight so it lays a certain way on the drum. Otherwise it can end up biting the cable. You can get a knot in it. You can destroy your winch cable. That's even winches on the front of a truck, or on the back of a tractor or whatever. It doesn't have to be a crane winch. That's any winch. He hadn't been around as much setting up. He just took my anti-2 block weight off. So now we get to listen to that beep, but also, in order for me to boom down, I have to hold an override key. I typically prefer that doesn't get taken off until I'm setting the boom completely down, but it's alright. We'll work around it. Shut the beeping off there. So he's got to put a pin in the bottom of the boom. That locks into a socket on the bridge on the dolly. That's what actually supports the weight of the boom. Once we lay it down on this dolly, I'll throw some valves. One of them is for free swing. We talked about that when I in that hydraulic repair video, when I replaced that electric swing valve. It's a swing brake valve. The other lever that I will throw is on a valve for telescope, which that was in another video because I replaced that big valve. It was leaking when it was cold. And then there's a third valve on here that I will throw that puts the boom in float, so it allows oil to go in and out of the boom cylinder. So it'll actually float going down the road. That transfers all the way to the boom onto the dolly. Okay, he wants me to swing right just a fuzz. Okay, now I'm going to lay the weight of the boom on the dolly right now, and then I'll go throw that valve in a minute. Okay, now I gotta go mess with valves. Okay, we are back in the dolly. Got our counterweights configured the way we need them for tomorrow. Put this thing back in the shop for today. give everybody a quick thank you for those that have subscribed to my channel and that are commenting, staying involved. I mean, the feedback I've gotten from everybody's been fantastic. The support. I've had some people around me that are kind of naysayers and like, oh, I can't believe you're doing that. Who's going to watch your stuff? Whatever. I'd like to get to a point where I can just look at those guys and be like, you know what? You know, I've got 50,000 people watching my stuff. But I can't do it without you guys, and I definitely appreciate all the support, everybody that's subscribing and watching my footage. It's pretty humbling to know that, you know, I'm about 2 months into this deal, and I've already got, I think my last count was 256 people watching or subscribed to my channel. Not quite to 5,000 views, I don't think, but we're getting close. It's pretty, it humbles a guy. Really, if it weren't for Randy at G4 Outdoors, which I recommend everybody go check his channel out. Randy's been a long-time friend of mine. He's the one that talked me into doing this. He's like, dude, you got to get some cameras and take them to work with you. He said, you've got to get some of that footage out. He said, your channel would be amazing. But yeah, if it weren't for Randy with G4 Outdoors, you guys wouldn't be watching me. So, really, I owe all of this to him. And someday, if I ever start making any money with this at all, I mean, I'm a pretty generous person. I'm sure I'll be kicking some back to followers or subscribers. I'll be kicking some back to Randy with G4. I mean, I wouldn't have any of that if it weren't for you guys, him, and everybody else that's helped make this possible. So. Well, now we got the crane ready for tomorrow. I think I need to put batteries in one of our trucks. It's not one to start. I've had a couple issues with it here and there with it. After it sits for a few days, it doesn't want to start. That truck, it's going to sound funny, but we call it Blue Bunny because it's got a blue cab, but it also has stacks that stick way up on it, look kind of like bunny ears, so we call it Blue Bunny. Yeah, I'll probably record some of that while we're throwing some batteries in, and at least give me some footage for a rainy day, or you know, if we got a break in the action for a week or something. So anyway, I'm gonna sign off on this for now, and maybe we'll record some more stuff in a little bit.